The fluorescent lights hummed overhead as Admiral Jessica Martinez walked through the security checkpoint at Naval Base Coronado. She'd done this hundreds of times, but today felt different. Today, she was going undercover in her own facility. The security personnel had no idea who she really was, and that was exactly the point. Jessica had risen through the ranks faster than almost anyone in Navy history. Starting as an A-10 pilot, she'd proven herself in combat zones across the Middle East. Her call sign, Valkyrie, was known throughout the military for that one mission in Afghanistan where she'd saved an entire SEAL team from certain death. But most people didn't know the face behind the legend. She'd spent most of her career in cockpits and classified briefings, not on magazine covers. 3 weeks ago, intelligence reports started coming in about a security breach at Coronado. Someone was leaking classified information about SEAL training operations. The brass suspected it was coming from inside the base, but they didn't know who or how. Traditional investigations had turned up nothing. That's when Jessica proposed something radical: let her go undercover as a new civilian contractor to observe the security protocols firsthand. Standing at the checkpoint now, dressed in jeans and a plain white t-shirt, her blonde hair pulled back in a simple ponytail, she looked nothing like the decorated admiral she was. The young Marine at the security desk barely glanced at her fake credentials before waving her through to the next station. That's where things got interesting. A gruff security officer, probably in his late 40s, motioned her over. His name tag read Patterson. He had the look of someone who would seen it all and wasn't impressed by much. "Ma'am, I need you to step over here for additional screening," Patterson said, his voice carrying that particular tone of authority that came from years of military service. Jessica complied, keeping her expression neutral. This was exactly what she was looking for. How thorough was the actual screening process? "Empty your pockets and place your bag on the table," Patterson instructed. She did as told, watching carefully as he began going through her belongings with meticulous attention. Her fake identification listed her as Sarah Jane, an IT contractor hired to assist cybersecurity systems. Everything in her bag supported that cover story. "Miss Jane, I'm going to need you to step into the screening room for a more thorough search," Patterson said, gesturing toward a private room. Jessica's heart rate picked up slightly. This was more thorough than she'd expected. "Is there a problem, officer?" "Standard protocol for all new contractors with system access credentials," he replied. "Won't take long." Inside the screening room, a female security officer was waiting. Her name tag identified her as Sergeant Williams. She was professional and efficient as she explained the procedure. "I'm going to need you to remove your jacket and shoes. We'll do a standard pat-down and scan." "It's all routine," Williams said. Jessica noticed the confidence in Williams' demeanor, the way her eyes constantly scanned for anything unusual. This was good. This was what security should look like. But was it consistent? Was it thorough enough to catch a real threat? As Williams conducted the pat-down, Jessica observed the room. One camera in the corner, positioned to capture the entrance and the subject being searched. Standard issue metal detector wand. A small table for personal belongings. Everything by the book. "You're clear, Miss Jane," Williams said after completing the search. "Welcome to Coronado. Your escort will meet you outside to take you to your workstation." Jessica collected her belongings and stepped back into the hallway, where a young sailor was waiting to escort her to the IT department. As they walked through the facility, she made mental notes of everything: which doors required badge access, which areas had cameras, where the blind spots were. The IT department was located in Building 7, a nondescript structure that housed most of the base's digital infrastructure. Her escort, a friendly kid who couldn't have been more than 22, chatted casually as they walked. "You ever worked on a military base before, Miss Chen?" he asked. "First time," Jessica lied smoothly. "It's pretty impressive. Yeah, security's tight here. Especially with the SEAL teams. We had some issues a few weeks back, so they've ramped everything up." Jessica's ears perked up. "Issues? Like what?" The sailor glanced around and lowered his voice. "Probably shouldn't say too much, but there were some leaks. Classified stuff. They're still investigating." "Wow, that's serious," Jessica said, playing the concerned civilian. "Makes me glad the security screening was so thorough." They arrived at the IT department, and Jessica was introduced to her new supervisor, Lieutenant Commander Rick Harrison. He was a career Navy IT specialist, sharp-eyed and clearly stressed about the security situation. "Miss Chen, welcome aboard," Harrison said, shaking her hand. "I hope you are ready to dive in. We've got a lot of vulnerabilities to assess." Over the next several hours, Jessica worked alongside the IT team, gaining access to security logs, network traffic analysis, and incident reports. But she wasn't just looking at digital security. She was watching the people. How they accessed classified systems. Who was careful about locking their terminals? Who left sensitive documents visible on their desks? During lunch in the commissary, she sat alone, observing. She watched officers and enlisted personnel interact. She noted who seemed nervous, who was too casual with information, who might be a security risk. That's when she noticed him. A civilian contractor, mid-30s, sitting alone and constantly checking his phone. Nothing unusual about that, except he was in a restricted area where personal phones weren't supposed to be active. She made a mental note of his face. The afternoon brought more revelations. Jessica discovered that while the physical security at checkpoints was generally good, the digital security had significant gaps. People were sharing passwords. Multi-factor authentication wasn't consistently enforced. And most concerning, there were several accounts with administrative privileges that hadn't been used in months but were still active. As the day wound down, Jessica requested access to the security footage from the past month, claiming she needed to assess physical security patterns for her cybersecurity evaluation. Harrison approved the request without much question. Alone in a small office, Jessica spent the evening reviewing footage. She was looking for patterns, anomalies, anything that might indicate who was behind the leaks. Hours passed as she fast-forwarded through endless hallways and offices. Then she saw it. The same contractor from lunch, the one with the phone, accessing a restricted server room at odd hours. 3 times in the past 2 weeks, always late at night, always alone. She cross-referenced the times with the digital access logs and found something interesting. Each time he accessed that room, there was a spike in data transfers to an external IP address. Jessica picked up the secure phone in the office and made a call. Within 30 minutes, a team from Naval Criminal Investigative Service was on site. She briefed them on her findings, providing the footage and digital evidence she'd compiled. The NCIS team moved quickly. By midnight, they'd apprehended the contractor. His name was Michael Reeves, and he'd been selling classified information about SEAL training schedules and tactics to a foreign intelligence service. The evidence was overwhelming. The next morning, Jessica returned to the base, this time in her service dress blues, her chest full of medals, her admiral's stars gleaming on her shoulders. She'd requested a meeting with all security personnel. Patterson, the gruff officer from the checkpoint, nearly dropped his coffee when she walked into the briefing room. Williams, the sergeant who would conducted her pat-down, stood at attention with wide eyes. At ease, everyone, Jessica said, allowing herself a small smile. I want to thank you all for your service and your diligence. Yesterday, I went undercover to assess our security protocols firsthand. I'm pleased to report that our physical security procedures are excellent. Sergeant Williams, your professionalism and thoroughness were exemplary. Officer Patterson, your attention to detail was exactly what we need at every checkpoint. She paused, letting that sink in before continuing. However, we identified significant gaps in our digital security and operational security awareness. Thanks to the combined efforts of our security teams and NCIS, we've apprehended an individual who was compromising classified information. This wouldn't have been possible without the strong foundation of physical security you all maintain every day. After the briefing, Patterson approached her, shaking his head in disbelief. Ma'am, I had no idea. When you came through yesterday, you did your job perfectly, Patterson. That's exactly what I needed to see. Our people are our greatest asset, but only if we give them the right tools and training. That's what we are going to fix. Jessica spent the next week implementing new security protocols across the base. Mandatory cybersecurity training, stricter access controls, better oversight of contractor credentials, and most importantly, a culture shift that emphasized security wasn't just the responsibility of the security team, but of every person on that base. The SEAL team she'd saved years ago in Afghanistan sent her a message when they heard the news. Once a guardian angel, always a guardian angel. Thanks for having our backs, Valkyrie. As Jessica sat in her office that evening, looking out over the Pacific Ocean, she reflected on the mission. She'd gone from flying combat missions to commanding thousands of personnel, but the core mission never changed: protect those who serve, and never back down from doing what's right, no matter how impossible it seems.